Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Friends, before going into the details of the war, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. Please support by subscribing and turning on the notification bell. We are a strong community. Russians attack Ukrainian positions in the east, all attempts repelled, says General Staff. Over the past day, the armed forces of Ukraine repulsed the attacks of the Russian invasion forces near the settlements of Zemlyanka and Chuhunivka in Kharkiv Oblast, as well as Soledar, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, and 6 other settlements in Donetsk Oblast, according to the morning report of the General Staff posted on Facebook on October 24. Meanwhile, Ukrainian military aviation conducted 11 strikes over the past day, hitting 11 enemy clusters of weapons and military equipment. Additionally, air defense units shot down 12 Shahed 136 suicide drones. Ukrainian missile forces and artillery hit 4 enemy command posts, 5 clusters of manpower, weapons and military equipment, 4 ammunition depots, an anti-aircraft missile system, an area of artillery firing positions, and other important military objects. The General Staff also reported that the destruction of 3 BM-21 Grad multiple rocket launchers and the evacuation of about 70 wounded Russian servicemen on October 22 near the village of Mikhailivka, Zaporizhia Oblast, had been confirmed. Serbian minister in favor of sanctions against Russia and 3 others left out of incoming government Belgrade, the 24th of October 2022, dtt-net.com. The outgoing Minister of Serbia of Mining and Energy, who is in favor of joining EU sanctions against Russia over military assault on Ukraine, Zorana Mihailovic, and 3 others, will not be member of the incoming cabinet, the 2 governing parties have decided. Elon Musk says SpaceX won't cut off Starlink in Ukraine even if the US government refuses to fund the internet service. Elon Musk said SpaceX wouldn't switch off its Starlink internet service in Ukraine even if the US government declined to fund the project. The billionaire has recently expressed how expensive it has been for SpaceX to keep running Starlink in Ukraine while the war with Russia wages on. SpaceX asked the Department of Defense, DoD, in September to fund the satellite internet service in the country because the company said it couldn't afford it, CNN recently reported. Musk said on Sunday in response to a Teslarati article posted on Twitter, "Before DoD even came back with an answer, I told Mikhailo Fedorov that SpaceX would not turn off Starlink even if DoD refused to provide funding." Fedorov, Ukraine's Vice Prime Minister and Minister of Digital Transformation, replied to Musk's tweet, saying before the discussions about funding, the SpaceX CEO confirmed to him that he would ensure Starlink would continue to run in Ukraine. "This was critically important for Ukraine. We are grateful to you," Fedorov wrote in the tweet. Musk replied to Fedorov, "You're most welcome." SpaceX didn't immediately respond to insiders' request for comment made outside of US operating hours. Since Starlink was activated in Ukraine after Russia's invasion, the company has sent thousands of internet terminals to the country, and reports suggest Starlink has helped Ukrainian troops stay online during the war. Despite this, Musk has said SpaceX was burning around $20 million per month to keep the service running in Ukraine and Starlink was losing money. According to documents seen by CNN, SpaceX expected the cost of operating Starlink in Ukraine to add up to more than $120 million for the rest of 2022 and almost $400 million over the next year. Although Musk said the costs were unreasonable, he then backtracked on his refusal and said SpaceX would continue to fund Starlink in Ukraine. Politico reported on October 17 that the Pentagon has discussed whether to fund Starlink, according to 2 US officials involved with the project. The European Union is also considering paying for Starlink in Ukraine over concerns the billionaire would turn off the internet service in the country, Lithuania's Foreign Minister Gabrielius Landsbergis told Politico. Musk said on October 17 that SpaceX had already withdrawn its request to the Pentagon for funding. Ukraine. National final date set for the 17th of December. Save the date, the 17th of December 2022. Ukraine. The reigning Eurovision champs will be determining its Eurovision act and entry just before Christmas. The 2023 Ukrainian National aka Vidbir 2023 is scheduled to be held in a bomb shelter in Kyiv on the 17th of December. PBC received more than 384 entries from 229 artists for Vidbir 2023. Dmytro Shurev, Ukrainian national final producer, says, Ukraine in Eurovision. Ukraine debuted at the Eurovision Song Contest in 2003 and has achieved great results in the competition, having won the contest thrice, 2004, 2016, 2022. The country has enjoyed extraordinary results in the competition, 3 victories, 2004, 2016, 2022, 2 ND placings, 2007, 2008, 1 road placing, 2013, 1 th placing, 2011, 1 th placing, 2021. Ukraine is the only country which has never missed to qualify to the grand final since the introduction of the semi-finals in the competition. Ukraine says Russia deliberately delaying passage of 150 grain ships. Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, accused Russia of intentionally delaying passage of vessels carrying grain exports. He stated that 150 vessels were still waiting to be loaded. Since July, when the United Nations signed an agreement with Russia, Ukraine, and Turkey, Kyiv has exported nearly 11 million tons grains and other food products. Zelensky said in a video address that the delay had caused Ukraine to export 3 million tons less grain, enough to feed 10 million people. The agreement expires in November, but negotiations for an extension aren't moving fast because Russian concerns aren't being properly considered, the UN ambassador to Geneva said on Thursday, the 20th of October. Zelensky said, "The enemy is doing all it can to slow down food exports. More than 150 ships are waiting to fulfill contractual obligations regarding the delivery of agricultural products. This artificial queue, it only arose because Russia deliberately delayed the passage of ships," he said, but did not provide details. Requests for comment from the Russian foreign and defense ministries were not immediately returned by them. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan was quoted as saying that he did not see any obstacles to the extension of the agreement. Moscow claims that Western sanctions are restricting Russia's exports of fertilizer and grain, even to countries in need. Accessing healthcare in Ukraine after 8 months of war. The health system remains resilient, but key health services and medicine are increasingly unaffordable. The 24th of October 2022, Kyiv. Even as Ukraine marks 8 months of a brutal war, the health care system in Ukraine continues to function overall, but for growing numbers of civilians, spiraling costs, logistical hurdles, and damaged infrastructure are making access to essential services all the more challenging. Those are among the key findings of a recent health needs assessment conducted by the WHO Country Office in Ukraine, shared with the Ukrainian Ministry of Health, international and national health partners, and humanitarian actors on the ground. The assessment focused on identifying health needs and major barriers to access to primary and specialized care and medicines. The methodology took into account the correlation between income and access to specific categories of medical services and supplies for the 18 and over population of Ukraine. Some of the specific findings include insights from different geographic areas as well as the health needs of internally displaced persons, IDPs. The survey, conducted in September 2022, is the first such assessment since the start of the Russian invasion into Ukraine on February 24. People across Ukraine report that the major barriers to accessing healthcare are cost, time constraints to get to and from health facilities, as well as limited transport availability, noted Dr. Yarno Habicht, WHO representative in Ukraine and head of the country office. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.